Hi, my name is Victoria, and I did my mini unit on flowers in spring with the central focus of the life cycle of a flower and the events that occur within the season of spring. I used 3 major Common Core New York standards. First is I can ask and answer questions about key details in the text, which is very important for students because we want them to be able to, look at the pictures, hear the words from the story, and be able to, ask something that they may, be unsure about. The second is I can draw, dictate, or write about the information from a story. So you want the students to be able to use the details from the story and put it in their own words using a picture and also along with their dictation. Thirdly is I can recognize and write words to state an opinion. So we want our students to be able to express themselves and say what they like, what they don't like, how they feel, or why they think this might have happened. So this is an important standard also. So I chose these 3 because I thought it would be great to be used in a lesson to start giving students exposure to this type of learning. Okay? Now within the lesson, I'm using a certain amount of materials for the unit. Okay? The first material is the digital book, The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle.
The Tiny Seed by Eric Carle. It is autumn. A strong wind is blowing. It blows flower seeds high in the air and carries them far across the land. One of the seeds is tiny, smaller than any of the others. Will it be able to keep up with the others? And where are they all going? One of the seeds flies higher than the others. Up it goes. It flies too high, and the sun's hot rays burn it up. But the tiny seed sails on with the others. Another seed lands on a tall and icy mountain. The ice never melts, and the seed cannot grow.
Okay, and I use the digital book because it's a different way to keep students engaged, and it's, from the ordinary, everyone sit down still, let's listen to the book. So I thought this would be great. I'm using writing paper for lesson 1. I'm using a regular sheet of paper, okay, for lesson 2. And for the 3rd lesson, this is going to be a handwriting paper that they're going to use. We're going to have crayons, pencils, color pencils, markers, a live flower, and also actual seeds used. Okay, now let's take a look into lesson 1. With lesson 1, the main focus is for students, to listen to the book read on the MacBook. And then some focus questions are, what season is it now? And what happened to the flower? Then we move into where students are able to team talk. That means they pair together and they talk to one another about the question, do you think it's a good thing that the tiny seeds grow slower than other flowers? So, students can really, think and internalize and be able to verbally express to their peers what their feel is on that. And then for the activity, students draw a picture of what the seeds are doing in spring. So, you might have a picture like this. And this is from a student. And the student drew a tree with some apples on it. And then a flower. And when asked what is the seeds doing in spring, the seeds are growing. So this may be one response that you get. Okay. Lesson 2 focus is, again, we watch the book again. And the focus question is now, what happens to the plant in summer? So now you want students to be able to think and compare the actions that happen in spring versus the summer. And the students will also be able to team talk with the focus question of, you know, what's your favorite color flower, and expressing why is it their favorite color. You move into the activity where students create a picture of their favorite season. And this is created on the sheet of paper. And this student drew a picture of her favorite season, which is summer. Okay, so you can see the sun, see sand, see flowers, you know, and this is what the student got from answering that activity question. And lesson 3, you know, wraps up what's been learned over the prior 2 lessons. And we also watched the video again of the book. And students discuss in a large group what happened to the flower. You want students to be able to take you from the beginning of the story to the end of the story, but telling you key details, okay? And students team talk about how a person might feel about, you know, a seed in the fall versus a seed in the spring. You know, what do they notice? Do you think they like the seed in the fall? Or what could happen to a flower in the fall? And the activity, students create a picture about how they feel about the seed. So, this student drew a picture. As you can see, it's a seed and it's a sad face. And then the student wrote sad. So, you know, you can further discuss with the students why they felt sad about this, you know, and have them really go into detail. So it's a great way to spark up a conversation with a child and get that deeper insight. And when doing my lessons and conducting, preparing, all those components, I realized that this lesson promotes self-awareness as well as brings attention to the whole idea of life cycles. So you can use this lesson to go into different life cycles of butterflies, of humans, of different kinds of animals. So you can really use this as a foundation to move forward with other different life cycles. It also builds off of repetition. So as you notice, throughout all 3 lessons, the students had a focus question where they discussed, they also team talked, and then they moved into an activity. You want students to be able to have some prior knowledge already, but then also gain some information from discussions and apply that to the activity, you know? And then this lesson provides room for growth of fluency and master level reproduction for each standard listed within respect of the lesson. So each portion allows for these standards to be met. And ideally, you want the students to be able to master those lessons. Well, rather those standards. The findings is that this lesson 1, 2, and 3 can be modified for different age groups or different levels of grades. It also helps the students develop language skills and helps them to be able to know how to share their opinions and respect the rights of others and listen and engage in conversation about qualitative things. It also can be, you know, revamped to explore the same life cycle of flowers but in respect to another season, fall, winter, or summer. And you can look and see what happens and use the same components and, you know, make it so that it's yours. My reflection is I would like to do this mini lesson unit over the course of not 3 days but more so of 6 days. I saw that, you know, students, although they got to build off of their peers and gain information, you know, some students still struggled. So you want to be able to accommodate all students, and so moving forward, I know that this might have to be stretched to meet the needs of my students. I would also like to incorporate other reading material, not just one book. So I feel if I stretched it over 6 days, I could probably throw in a poem, maybe use some other types of pictures to show the life cycle of flowers, but also in different ways. Maybe the life cycle of a blossom, maybe the life cycle of a daisy, things of that sort, different kinds of fruits and all of that. So I think this lesson is great. I think all types of students from all different cultures can be exposed to this, because wherever they are in an area where there are 4 major seasons that occur, this definitely applies. And you can always find out things about what they do with their family within their culture during the spring. That opens up a whole nother room of conversation for you to have with your students. Okay? So thank you. This is like a brief look into my lesson, why I did my lesson, what my lesson can do for students, and how important it is for students to gain information from this type of lesson. Thank you.